This is the EVP Podcast. Guess what, guys? It is the EVP Podcast, and we're back with your hosts, Ghosty
and Beaker.
It's been quite a crazy week for me.
It has been. Ghosty is not a ghost, fortunately.
Yeah.
He got really close to becoming a ghost. I was
this close to Ghost Town. But yeah, after we recorded last week's episode, I got rocked pretty hard that night. I ended up, I got T-boned right here on this crazy highway, right by my house where we record. And that was like what hit me, most people die from. And I was able to walk away from it. It was pretty crazy. Pretty damn gnarly.
So a huge shout out to our good friend Elon Musk for providing him with a Tesla.
Because that thing saved my life. But crazy shit since then, though. Like,
so have you been having experiences or something? Because I know, like, you have a concussion, so your head's a little messed up more than usual.
Yeah, and I'm having even more harder times putting words together.
More harder times.
Exactly. You
perfect example. You heard it first here on the EVP podcast. More harder times.
But yeah, so at first when it happened, I thought I was completely awake and coherent during the whole thing. And because what it felt like to me was, as my car was coming to a complete stop, before I stopped, I thought I heard sirens. And I was thinking, damn, these guys got here fast as shit. And after a couple doctor visits and a week after the accident, I wouldn't call it an accident, crash, all of a sudden I started things kind of making more sense. And that, because they kept asking me if the EMS, did you get knocked out or did you hit your head? And at first I kept going, I don't think so. I don't feel like I did. I don't remember hitting my head. After everything, leaving the hospital and everything, I had a black eye. Obviously, I hit my head. But after some doctor talking to them and realizing some things, I realized my ass was knocked out for a minute. From the moment my car, probably before it stopped, up until I think the sirens woke me up. And then that's when I came to. So I did have some minutes where I was missing some time there. And I started thinking back again. There was some weird time this week where I was thinking, there was a night where I felt like I wasn't breathing, like sleep apnea type, where you wake up and you're like gasping for air.
Oh, no. What's that like?
But
I wouldn't know from experience at all. Sleep apnea is not fun.
But I've never had sleep apnea. I've never experienced that before. But I remember having this dream of being underwater and then getting pulled out of the water. And as I got pulled out of the water, all of a sudden, that's when I'm gasping for air. And it was like hurting. I remember everything was hurting me as I was breathing. Like I've never, like I had not had oxygen in a long time. And after thinking about back on that from yesterday and today over, it's been a week now. And holy shit, I was thinking I stopped breathing for a little bit.
Probably.
And then, so I end up hearing an officer yelling down at me, telling me to get out of if I'm okay and all that stuff. I was just going through shock and all that stuff. And now it's thinking back and thinking how, holy shit, I was out for a little bit. Because that night, after leaving the hospital, I kept, like, in my mind's eye, I kept seeing shit like crazy. And in my peripheral, I felt like there was people there, and I'd look, no one there. And then I've just yesterday or this morning, I thought somebody went to the bathroom. I thought I saw them walk to the bathroom, and then I was doing something. I looked down.
I forgot to tell you, I snuck in your house earlier.
Right? I was like, oh. So I was like, oh, I thought you were in the bathroom. They're like, no, I wasn't in the bathroom. I didn't go to the bathroom. It's like,
wait, was there someone actually here?
Yeah. Somebody's here that I was talking to.
All right, I thought you were just by yourself. Like,
no, I was.
So
I was asking them if they had gone to the bathroom. They're like, no, I've been here. So I was like, oh, okay, weird. I swear to God, I just saw somebody go to the bathroom and saw the door closed. But anyways, yeah, I've been experiencing a lot of stuff since then. I've been seeing a lot more, a lot of stuff in my peripheral and a lot of, and I know I'm concussed, but I actually, am feeling the presence there too. But it seems like there's a lot happening now. It's weird.
We'll see about that. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second wreck you've been in about a year.
Yeah.
Do you think that the universe is trying to possibly tell you something?
stop driving.
Or become an Uber driver. Not really. Don't do that. That's my phone.
No, this was one of those things where, I mean, the last one, that was a dumb mistake I made. But this one that just happened was somebody making a dumb mistake, completely oblivious to lights, and got me good. But I mean, it freaks me out thinking that that's the same impact that kills most people on that road.
Yeah, and I honestly think I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think with the big ass, because the battery's in the front, right?
The battery's along the whole bottom, and they have that extra frame built around the battery to protect it from battery acid and stuff.
Because Teslas have those big ass like heavy batteries,
and exactly what kept me from rolling over.
I think I agree with you on that one. I think that's what kept you from. I think that's what kept you alive, to be honest. Yeah, because I've seen the pictures and the videos that you posted of the aftermath of your car.
Yeah.
And
for me,
the fact that you walked away from this and you
climbed out and climbed up a hill out of there.
I mean, this is really bad. The person was probably going like 50 miles an hour at least.
Yeah.
His car is totaled. Like the whole driver's side door is completely smashed in.
The only place where somebody was in the car, that took the whole impact.
And what's the extent of your injuries? Just a concussion, some bruised ribs, and some cuts?
So the torn cartilage, stitches, the contusions, which is the bruised bones, but there could be some more. I got to do a lot more. Doctors are running me through all kinds of tests and stuff. So
far, right now, no internal bleeding, or
it is super minimal for what that accident would have could be. That's insane. How I was no broken bones. I was able to walk afterwards. And
I'll ask this question again. You don't have to answer right now. I just I'm giving you some homework here on the show. Maybe do some meditation, some pondering. But again, do you think the universe might be trying to tell you something?
Oh no, I take everything as a lesson. So everything that does happen, I don't get mad at situations. I take
so what we need to do is figure out what the lesson is.
So I've already reflected back on that.
Okay. And?
Oh, I'll tell you about it.
You'll tell me later. No, you're not good enough to hear. It's probably really personal. So if he ever gets to the point to where he's comfortable sharing that, we probably will, but don't hold your breath. But no, it's just kind of put things in perspective for people. Like if you have, I kind of don't look into the synchronicities of things. Like the whole, if you see 111 all the time, like maybe your brain's just programmed to look at the clock at that time, whatever. I see people sending me texts that are like, look, it's 4:44 or 3:33. Like it doesn't always mean something significant, right?
Right.
But there are times in your life where maybe you have to just kind of slow down, take a step back, and be like, okay, what is the universe really trying to show me here? And this week, what the universe is trying to show us is a haunted house in Cayuga, Indiana.
Cayuga?
It's in Indiana.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you like that segue?
Yeah.
It's good if you point it out. No, in all seriousness, Cayuga. Yeah, it's there are times where the universe might be trying to tell you something, and all you have to do is just kind of take a step back and be like, okay, what is it?
Yeah.
What is it that is trying to be shown to me?
So I know the person. I don't know the person, but I'm saying I know the person who hit me wasn't, their intentions.
No.
I don't hold any kind of grudges or people say oh, I would have beat their asses. I would have slapped them silly. I understand that feeling because I've felt that before when, certain situations, but knowing that, they didn't want this shit to happen. They didn't mean for it.
No. And do you mind if I share what I told you in the car ride earlier?
Yeah.
So, you do mind or you don't?
No, go ahead.
So I was trying to read her energy off of you. And what I got was, yes, she was definitely distracted. And like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. I've never talked to this person. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'll just put that out there right now. But the initial feeling that I got from trying to read her energy is that she was going through a difficult time in her life right now. And she was definitely distracted driving. She was texting somebody, having some sort of argument. Not that that's an excuse to not pay attention to the road, but I kind of have a feeling when you saw her, you said she was crying and she was mouthing the words, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. Right. I kind of have a feeling that she was crying beforehand, like while she was driving. I feel like there was something else like that was going on, and it just she wasn't her normal self that day. And,
Well, yeah,
and again, like I said, I could be completely wrong on this, and I know someone out there listening will probably tell me if I'm wrong or not. She knows who she is.
The subtle bell.
But that's just my initial impression. Like I said, I'm still learning to develop my gifts, so I could be wrong, but that's just what I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
And I'm not saying that's an excuse again
Yeah.
for.
Because I mean,
it
the first
happening,
thing that comes up to everyone's mind is, was she drunk? You know,
And,
were they
and
drunk?
like I said, reading your energy, I didn't get that. I got like she was distraught. Like there was something really personal going on in her life right now. I felt like that she was indeed crying, and she was kind of like arguing or having some sort of text conversation while driving, which again, having distress in your life is not an excuse to text while drive. Like I know you get annoyed with me. You got annoyed with me last week when I was supposed to meet up with you guys and I was running late. And I don't respond to text messages when I'm driving. I just wait until I get there. And then I tell you why I'm late.
You know, that's totally fine. That's
but-
totally fine.
Honestly, like, I don't want this, don't take this the wrong way, but it's probably good that it happened to you. And not somebody else in a different car where there
Yeah.
might have been a fatality. Like I said, I don't want anyone to get in a car accident at all. But I think it's in this case. I think it's possibly fortunate that
It was
It
my
was
car
your
over
car
another type of vehicle
that where there could have been a fatality. That maybe a mom bringing her kids home from school or something. Or I mean, this is kind of 8 o'clock at night, so maybe from soccer practice. But it could have been worse. There could have been a fatality. It could have ended up on the news. So I think in that aspect, you and that individual driving the car are very fortunate that there was no fatalities.
Oh, for sure. Because that's like the one impact that I've always been afraid of. And then bam. And I was able to walk away from it. And I know I've said that too, that where I'm like, shit. Luckily, when she ran the first set of red lights on the northbound lanes, that she didn't hit anybody or get hit there.
Yeah.
And then when she went through the southbound lanes, boom, I was the lucky one to get hit.
For those of you that are local and know Mountain View corridor, you know how there's
Two sets of
it's
lights.
kind of like a highway,
Split.
but there's two sets of separate lights that are split there, like you just said. So yeah, it's very fortunate that she was able to make it through the first set of red lights and not hit anybody. And again, it's fortunate that it was you and not like possibly a family or somebody, anybody. Any fatality is going to be not good.
Right.
So, I mean, not saying I wanted you to get in the car accident, but I think it's fortunate for both for her,
If she was going to hit somebody,
you know.
that it was me.
So, I mean, realistically, it could just be that the universe put you in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm pretty fucked up from it, but I mean, it's better than what it could have been. Like, I didn't break anything, luckily, from what I can tell. So far.
Or realistically, he is a ghost, and I'm doing the podcast by myself.
Maybe this has happened in my mind. Maybe this is happening in my dream. As
Maybe
my
this is
life
happening in my
flashing
dream.
before my eyes.
Maybe you did pass away. And
You know what was crazy?
I'm dreaming that I'm at your house.
The life flashing before your eyes thing, right? The moment of impact, it was so crazy that I was able to think of all these things going on in my life at that moment and processing it all and how am I going to complete all this shit? And it's kind of like where, you know, when ghosts are, you know, have all this incomplete shit that they're stuck here trying to like figure out how to, you know, there's all this incomplete stuff that they're doing. Like I could totally see that because that's what was going through my mind of all these things that I'm in the middle of at that moment and how I'm going to get all this done now because this son of a bitch just ruined my damn day and what I'm doing with everything in my life at this moment. And all of these things are processing how I'm going to complete this, how I'm going to do this, what about this, what about this, what about this. So it was weird that it's not your whole life. It's how am I going to get all this shit done that I'm doing right now? And so I can see how a spirit being stuck here is trying to complete all these damn tasks.
Well, you know, they've said before, like, or we've said, or people have said, a lot of times when spirits have not crossed over, gone to the next plane or whatever,
Yeah, when they're
system
stuck
they
here.
hold, the reason why people are stuck here, like you said, is possibly because they have unfinished
business.
or unresolved business. And I mean, to me, that makes sense that that's what you're thinking of at the moment of the impact is like, well, I have all the stuff I didn't do. So, like I know that obviously the injuries weren't fatal, or I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. But did you? So when you were knocked out, like obviously you were unconscious for maybe a few minutes.
Yeah, maybe 2-3 minutes tops.
Do you
maybe.
remember like if you saw a light or anything? Or I'm not like I don't know how. Obviously you weren't close to death, but I mean,
No. So
do you remember like anything from that period, like what you might have like
the
dreamt
only,
or anything?
like I said, I thought I was awake the whole time.
Okay.
I didn't even feel like I had
So
passed
do you
out.
think you had an out of body experience?
The only type of situation that I can remember back on now, and it's after a week after the fact that, but it was me not breathing and getting pulled out of water, out of like a swimming pool, but it's all like, all you can see is everything's black and you just see the top portion of the water where just a little bit of moonlight can light up.
Yeah.
And it's like me being underwater and then getting pulled up out of water and able to breathe again. And that's really, if that happened at that moment where I was knocked out, that's really all I remember. Other than that, it felt like a fluid motion of like I didn't miss anything. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen people on roller coasters where they pass out.
Yeah, they pass out.
And they don't even know they passed out.
Yeah.
I
And
wonder
then
if
they
that's-
wake back up and they start screaming again.
That's what I'm picturing in my head. But of me kind of passing out like that and then waking up a couple minutes later. Like, just all that adrenaline and just...
I can see that.
But
Very interesting.
But I don't know if I was breathing or not during that time I was out, because I do know that feeling of getting, like I said, if this happened at that moment of me having that dream of getting pulled out of water, I felt like I didn't breathe for a very long time.
Well, you know who would know? Your spirit guides. You should get in touch with them. If you wanted to know. If whatever.
They don't say words, though.
They do too. You're just not listening.
But yeah, that was the craziness I just went through.
Yeah, so we're glad that you're still alive and here with us.
Me too, because that was probably so far the closest call.
Because if you weren't, I'd have to find somebody else to take to SmackDown in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was already Plan B.
Yeah. Well, DVO didn't want to go. That's right.
What else is new?
What else is new? Well, what's not new is this house in Indiana.
Yeah, because where we're going, Cayuga.
Cayuga? Is
Indiana.
that right? Indiana. And so we've done the research on this one. This does fit the...
It does fit, yeah.
It does fit the EVP standards of being haunted in America.
So this was built 1890. So obviously haunted.
Yep. Guaranteed haunted.
Guaranteed haunted or your money back.
Act now.
So
While supplies last.
This one is called Willows Weep because of this big old willow tree that was out front. This house was built real strange. They say it's built like a upside down cross.
You know, here's the weird thing.
It depends on which way you're looking at it, right?
It really does. So I remember, and you also remember this. We talked about this just a minute ago. So one of my coworkers saw this documentary on YouTube, told me about it. I told you about it. And when I was seeing the pictures and the videos of the house, I was just like, I've seen this shit on Netflix or something. It's been on one of the streaming services. I mean, you searched all over the place. I searched all over the place. We couldn't find it on any streaming service. It is on YouTube. It's called Willows Weep. The most evil house in America. So that's the title of our episode because we want listens.
Yeah, the most evil house in America.
The most evil house in America. This house was first kind of brought into national attention in 2019 when I was on The Unexplained with William Shatner. And
is I like his show.
William Shatner's a great narrator, but he's got such a great voice for narrating.
He's no David Attenborough, but he's still got a good voice.
Yeah, he should be on our show sometime. We'll get him on. He's like 90 years old.
He's for real.
What I thought was interesting is like watching this documentary before we get into the history of the house is the current owner of it.
Spinks.
David Spinks.
Spanks.
On The Unexplained, he offered to buy the house from the owner, and you just kind of looked at me and you said, this guy is really smart. Because here's this house being featured on this William Shatner show, and it was like the very first episode of season 1.
Yeah, season 1,
of
episode
The
1.
Unexplained. And this dude's offering to buy this house on the show. So there it is, national television. This dude's got the house.
They did the old handshake deal, too.
Yep. So it's just like, okay, now the whole country knows this place is haunted. I guarantee he's, possibly going to try to make a profit off of this. That's our initial thought when we saw the William Shatner episode. And then we started watching the documentary. This one was it Shock Networks or Scare Networks?
Scare TV or some Scare TV or Scare Network or some YouTube channel full of scare
if
stuff.
There was only a way to look this up, or
the Google
like
device.
If we took notes
Use
or
the
something.
Google machine.
Use the Google machine. So back to it. This house, they think it was built in 1890, right?
1890, and they say so. The weird way this house was built, they say it's built like a pentagram, and then they also say it's built like an upside down cross. Every room in the house kind of faces each other in a circle kind of way.
Yeah,
and then the family room is dead center in the middle, and that's all the rooms kind of open to it. It's really strange, kind of like that what Jack Skellington found, like all those damn doors in a circle.
Yeah. I mean, they say the living room is set up like a pentagram.
Yeah, with 5
It's
points.
just a really weird design.
It is a weird design, and it's funny that they say it's an upside down cross, and it's like really depends on which way you're looking at it. I mean, it doesn't. It could be sideways. What the hell?
Well, the reason why they call it an upside down cross is because the front door is facing the street. So that's why they're saying is because
it's perspective.
It's just perspective. If you're in the backyard, it's a cross. It's just a regular cross.
Yeah.
Either way, it's in the shape of a cross, and that's just fucking weird for a house.
Mm-hmm. It is really weird for a house. It's also said to be on some ley lines too. So ley lines are involved.
Oh, well, also Native American burial ground. That was also thrown in there.
Okay, so yeah, native burial ground, ley lines,
upside down cross,
upside down cross,
guaranteed haunted,
pentagram for a living room, 100 years old. It's got all the works for ghosts.
Yep, it meets the criteria. What was I looking up? Oh, then
the Google device.
The Google device.
But they said that there's been a ton of deaths and attempted suicides at this house.
Scare Network. That's what
Scare Network. Scare TV, Scare Network, samesies. So
samesies.
So they say that there's been, all these deaths, murders, and suicides.
Which are also deaths, but
also deaths, murders though.
Murders.
But the first owner of the house, the guy who built the house, they found him dead in the bathtub with no presumed. They didn't figure out how he died.
Yeah, there was no cause of death.
Sudden infant death.
No, it's yes. The guy built the house and
he died of SIDS.
He died of SIDS in his 90s.
In his bathtub.
It's amazing.
There was said to be another lady who moved into the house who was married to her second or third married to a third husband and had a daughter and a son. And this guy was the stepdad to the daughter and son, but apparently he ended up being found dead in the house, and the two husbands that she had before him were also found dead. I don't think that those deaths happened in the house.
No.
But her daughter ended up going missing. All of a sudden just disappeared, and nobody said anything.
She was pretty young too, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was young. She was not an infant, but toddler.
She was
maybe?
like toddler. I think she was like 6 or 7,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. And the weird thing is what they mentioned on the show is no one looked for her.
Yeah, nobody looked for her. It was just she just disappeared. There was no search party. There was nothing. There was just she was gone, and that was it. Then her older son, who had to be late teens, early 20s, there was a doorway that he tied threw a rope over and hung himself.
Yeah.
So, he ended up killing himself in the house, and they want to presume that maybe he felt guilt, that maybe he helped his mom do something to the daughter, maybe. Or maybe he did something and the mom was trying to cover it up for him and he felt guilt. They don't know. All these are just presumed rumors.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hard evidence.
Because nobody looked up shit back then. It was so weird.
There was Jesse. Sykes.
Oh yeah. So the next owner of the house,
This is like early 1900s, right?
yeah, early 1900s. There was a another guy, Jesse I can't remember his damn name.
So I know there was Minnie and her husband, Newell Sykes.
Sykes. Yeah, Sykes.
I believe it was their son, Jesse. We're really good at this.
Yeah. So
He was a bad dude.
yeah, he ended up. This guy was. They say that he actually was a convicted child molester,
Yes, sir.
and then he only got fined $700 and was let go.
Yeah, which back in the early 1900s.
That's a lot of money, though. Probably, yeah. Well, anyways, it was presumed that he was raping his.
I think it was his own daughter.
Was it his own daughter?
Yeah.
So he was raping his own daughter, and they had hogs. They had pigs in the back, and it was dinner time, and he never came out to eat.
So this is years and years later after he was convicted and all that. So he's
old. He's like 70.
He was
at this
like
time.
70s, 80s, somewhere in there. But go ahead.
So one of the daughters goes to check on him to find out where he's at, and they find him in the pig pen, and he is getting eaten by the pigs. Like they are. At this point, they've eaten his cock and balls off, and then now they're pulling his intestines out.
They've eaten one of his ears,
Private parts in his ankle, his ear, his ankle, his privates, and they're now consuming his intestines and pulling them out of where his sack used to be.
Yeah. So they actually got him away from the pigs. I believe.
Yeah, he was still alive.
They brought him in the house,
and then he died in the house.
Yeah.
And so there was a death there, and it was kind of like, okay, maybe somebody had enough of his shit and shot him in his shit, and that's probably was already bleeding out of that. That was kind of like a go ahead for the pigs to go to town on.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Well, they say he was prone to oh my goodness. Seizures. He had epilepsy. And he was prone to seizures. So they think is what happened is while he was out feeding the hogs, he had a seizure and passed out. And then the hogs, because it was feeding time, just started eating him as well.
Yeah.
Very convenient for, in no way was there foul play oh my God.
Yeah.
Suspected.
Did you get concussed too?
I think I'm just sympathy pains.
There's also a handyman who somebody had hired, one of the owners of the house.
So the handyman wasn't it the Brenda?
Brenda. She's the current owner. Well, not current, but she owned it.
Previous owner, before the current owner. She was the second to last owner.
Yeah, she sold it to Spinks. But while she owned it, and when she bought the house, she didn't believe in ghosts. And she was like, I ain't scared of no ghosts. And so she bought the house without any, she felt like she got a deal.
Yeah.
And so she was doing a lot of stuff to the house and redoing a lot of things. And she hired a handyman to do some of the outside work. And
so there was a lot of, yeah, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself.
So he was outside cutting the grass, and he got real close to the willow tree. And they say this willow tree is cursed, and if anybody's going to hurt it or whatever, it will defend itself.
Yeah, they're saying it's haunted by possible vengeful spirits or a demon, because everything in America when it's haunted, it's a demon involved.
So
thank you, Hollywood.
Yeah. So this guy's out cutting the grass, and the owner hears him screaming. So she runs out there, and she found him crumpled against the wall, unconscious.
Yeah.
So they rush him to the emergency room, and to discover that his spine had been nearly fractured in several places. But nearly fractured, I don't know what nearly fractured means. Contusions?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So
if only we knew a doctor. Ghost hunter.
Dr. Ghost Hunter.
Give us insight.
So he was they say that he was hurt by the tree. The trees.
The tree beat him. It's like
the tree beat him damn near to
Harry
death.
Potter and the Sorcerer. No, the second one. Chamber of Secrets. The Weeping Willow. The Whomping Willow. The willow tree beat the shit out of the guy.
But yeah, same thing. Samesies.
Samesies. Is that the word of the day?
Yep.
Samesies. But then he came back.
Oh yeah, what happened when he came back?
He came. Well, let's see. I am on that website. So after being arrested in emergency, blah blah blah. So upon discharge from the hospital and some recuperation, the handyman said he felt well enough to come and finish the work he was contracted to do. Right.
Okay.
So
yeah.
which included checking under the house to verify if any of the strange banging noises actually came from pipes under the house. Right. So he goes.
Oh, because when Brenda Johnson owned this house, she was hearing all these banging and clanging noises, but she thought it was part of the house settling.
Oh, there's so much shit that was going on with Brenda when she got there. Because like you said, she didn't believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
She bought the house. I don't know if she was going to flip it, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
I know she had plans of renovating it. So she had this handyman coming out working on stuff. Her and her son were on the inside cleaning stuff up, like boards from the wall that were like securely fastened
came flying and hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Right to the face.
They heard knockings and stuff, which originally thought it was like from outside, and all of a sudden the knocking noises were coming from inside and under the house. So because of these noises, she was having the handyman check to make sure it wasn't like pipes just knocking, just
or
like
rodents.
Normal. Yeah, just normal explainable things, right? So the guy is going under the house. Now, in order to get to the plumbing, he had to go through the entrance of the exterior access hatch.
Yeah, the crawl space,
yeah,
pretty much.
And crawl in there, right? So he got under the house. He discovered this was easier said than done. Where there should have been, the dirt should have been packed down. Because, if you've ever been in a crawl space, it's all level. It's just a dirt floor, basically. You've seen it in some movies and stuff.
It's kind of like where they would pour a foundation, but there's no foundation there. It's just crawl space.
And I mean, that's not common here in Utah, but in other like Midwestern states, it's very common to have a crawl space underneath the house. And for those of you who've seen like pretty much any horror movie, there is
always a crawl space.
There's always a crawl space that someone's hiding in, right? So anyways, this guy's going in the crawl space. Instead of it being packed down like it's supposed to be, there's mounds of dirt. He has assumed that the work was done by either groundhogs or rodents. So he started pushing the dirt piles aside to kind of clear a path so he can get around down there.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it was while he was clearing this path that he found a bone.
Dun, dun, dun.
But not just any bone, not an animal bone. No, it was a human bone.
A child's.
A child's. So I think they took it to the local police. And they told them that it was, I believe, like the arm and the elbow of a small child.
Yeah. About the same age as the daughter of the lady who went missing years before.
So that just kind of puts it in people's head again there that there was foul play, and that's why no one went searching for the daughter, and they buried her in the crawl space underneath the house. So he wanted to assume it was from a long buried pet or maybe livestock had gotten under the house at some point and died. He couldn't maintain that belief for very long because out of the darkness came some small, like white hands that were grabbing him, touching him, pulling on him, and trying to like drag him further into the crawl space. And
that's freaky though.
He got the hell out of there.
Because that's something that's always in like scary movies, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like that sounds like a scene from a scary movie, but at the moment of weird shit happening, like I could see that, all of a sudden things are showing themselves to him, and now he's freaking the hell out.
So it goes on to say that after he struggled for what felt like an eternity, he was able to free himself. Johnson, Brenda, she heard all of this commotion going on while she was up in the house doing stuff. She ran out just in time to see the handyman crawling back out from underneath the hatch, and he was panting and he was panicked. So he threw the bone at her and declared he would never go under that house again. And if that was a problem, she could find another contractor. Sensing that the bone might be related to the accident, that's when she brought it to the local physician, and that's when the doctor quickly identified it as an intact humerus of an older child, long dead. Law enforcement was called, like I said, because the bone was over 50 years old. They decided, we're not going to investigate. This is a cold case, and we don't want any part of this. So, unsatisfied with ignoring the house's deepest secrets, Johnson did some research and called David Spinks. And his first introduction anyone saw him on was on that The Unexplained.
And then
he's a paranormal investigator, by the way.
right, and so he bought the house for them to investigate and everything. But that lady Brenda, she had videos of weird stuff happening, or she even got scratched. But she was scratched with
Six claw marks.
claw
Is what she
marks.
said.
So it looked like something with an extra finger. So is that a double mark of the Trinity?
They used two hands instead of one,
Oh,
like
okay.
normal. This one was
It's a
really
double
wanted.
fisting demon over
Yeah,
here.
the double fisting demon. This one was like it didn't have to hold the person still so they could scratch them. They just went both
Should we
hands
name
down.
the episode the double fisting demon?
No, we should not.
Also, was it her daughter or granddaughter getting bit?
It was
on
her
the face?
granddaughter,
So her granddaughter's like playing, like almost like playing with a spirit,
right?
and they're like asking her who she's playing with, and didn't she say a name,
I think so.
or she said something about that person or whatever, and a little bit later she's now
She starts
crying, she's
screaming.
screaming and crying, and they're like, "What happened?" She goes, "She bit me." The invisible friend that they thought she had bit her on the face,
Yeah,
and they watch as bite marks appear and show.
like human teeth
Human
bite
teeth,
marks
but
appeared
yeah.
on this girl's
How
face.
freaked out would you? That's giving me goosebumps
Right.
thinking about what would you do if your kid that happened to you? How did you defend
Needless to
yourself?
say, Brenda decided she no longer wanted anything to do with this house, moved the hell out of there,
And sold it on
and
TV.
sold it off on TV to
with
speak.
the old handshake deal. I love
Yeah.
it.
So I mean, there was other stuff that happened. That's probably the freakiest thing though. Like I don't have kids myself, but I do have nieces and nephews, and I can only imagine how scared they would be. You know,
Damn.
and myself included. I don't know if I would be as scared. I'd probably be more pissed off. But just imagine how scared this little child would be if like they're playing with what they think is their friend, and all of a
then
sudden
get
they get
bit.
bit on the face.
Oh my god, that's freaky.
I mean, it's one thing like you've seen videos or heard of like kids getting bitten by dogs, and you can actually see that, and
and
people.
you can at least grab the dog and move. You know, there's something you can do to intervene.
But when it's a ghost biting your child, like what do you do?
Yeah, how are you gonna do stop
Right?
that?
That's probably the scariest thing that I think happened to Brenda. I mean, there's other things like they were painting the house on the outside, and I can't remember. I think it was her son was on a ladder. It didn't reach quite high enough, so they pulled the truck around. And they put the ladder in the bed of the truck,
And then
and so he got up high enough, and then all of a sudden the ladder.
they were holding. Someone was holding.
Brenda was.
Yeah, and
she
then
was
it
holding
was
the ladder, and
shaking.
it started shaking violently. And apparently, before this all went down, he heard a voice saying, "I'm going to push you over."
Yeah, so a threatening voice said something to it in his ear, and
And so
she's
he-
trying to hold the ladder
Yeah.
still, and it pushes away from the house, and he falls 15, 20 feet.
Yeah. So, naturally, she decided she was going to climb up the ladder afterwards.
Because that's what you do.
Right. And she got up there, and same thing. I don't know I can't remember. I don't think she heard the voice, but the ladder started shaking, and she was just like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, that is
My
nuts.
first train of thought here is like the ladder's shaking because they have it in the bed of a pickup truck.
Right. Yeah, balance and stuff.
But
To go to get pushed away from
Yeah.
the house, that's nuts. Where she's trying to hold it still and it's getting pushed away. But it's still weird. That's in the back of a pickup truck.
yeah, right. I mean, I've seen unsafer things,
Yeah,
but
done unsafer things.
I'm sure you have. I probably have too. But yeah, it's just like it didn't work for the first person, so let's try it again. To me, that part doesn't make sense. But I guess if you really need the house painted, you're gonna do it.
Well, I guess maybe just to test it out to see if try to debunk the situation.
Maybe, possibly. I mean, this is all just stuff that happened to Brenda. Before that, there was the family. Before that, the wife had passed away apparently in the house, and the husband was suffering from cancer, and I guess he was a little bit older, and he ended up shooting himself in the chair in the home. Like there's that yellow
yes.
chair
Yes.
that they keep showing in the house. So he ended up committing suicide, and from what his kids say is that he was very depressed, one from his wife passing away, and two that he was dealing with the cancer, and they kind of felt like it was one of those things where he just didn't want to be a burden on anybody anymore, and so he took his own life, and he fell and landed in this chair.
And then this
Some
chair
people
has
some people are saying a lot of these deaths Did we talk about that Brenda thought there was like 3 guys that were poisoned in the home?
So those weren't the guys poisoning. It was
That
the
was like a
lady
different
that
owner.
had the
Like,
3 husbands.
oh, the 3
and
husbands, yeah.
So and she had the daughter that ended up with the
So
missing daughter.
So, anyways, they think that like this is all paranormal related. The kids of the guy that shot himself are like, no, he was just very depressed. And some of the investigators will say that like depression was brought on by there's a demon in the house and the demon got him to kill him. I'm gonna agree with the kids on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost his wife. He had cancer. We've seen it before, and like with Robin Williams, for example, he was suffering from irreversible disease where he was not being able to remember things, and he felt like he was a burden on his family. So Robin Williams committed suicide, and I could see this being a similar situation where the guy had cancer, and he probably felt like he was a burden to his children. So he got rid of the burden in his mind.
Right.
So he falls in this chair, and these investigators in the documentary, or even in the unexplained, like they're showing the chair. There's these red marks on there, and
they're saying they're blood stains.
This is blood stains from the guy that shot himself.
And in the documentary, they ended up now that David Spinks owns the property, they cut out some of that chair and had it tested, and that was not blood.
Did they say what it was?
I don't think they did. It might have just been paint.
We just know it's not blood.
Yeah, it's probably when they're from painting the house.
So another thing that I thought was interesting, I know we're jumping all around. This is what we do, jumping around. Back to Brenda.
Yes.
Remember the cross in the house?
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Not
I'm
really.
going to tell you. So there was a cross that was apparently left there by a previous owner. And she said she came in one day, and this cross was crumpled up on the ground, melted, and there was this burn mark in the wall.
Oh, that's where the burn mark came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is her story, is that she came in the house one day, the cross was melted, and there was a burn mark on the wall. They're saying it's in the shape. I mean, it kind of looks like it's in the shape of the cross. It looks like it's possible that someone tried to set the cross on fire. And that's where the burn mark came from. They were trying to speculate and say it looks like a goat head or like Beelzebub or whatever, the head of the demon or the devil. Some were saying that there's rumors that the burn mark was there way before that. It's possible that Brenda's son was pissed off and lit the wall on fire. Like, there's no concrete evidence as to why the burn mark is there. There's a burn mark there.
And also, I think her sons were experiencing depression and tried to kill themselves in that house.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. I don't think we mentioned the grimoire that was found.
The
book.
So in the 50s, they were doing something where they were redoing the floor.
Yeah.
And in between the floor and the baseboard, somewhere buried under there, they found this book that had all these weird like spells and some really bizarre drawings.
So horrific images of brutality and dark incantations.
Black magic.
They say it's not a normal Wicca book and obviously contained the owner's deepest secrets.
Dark magic,
and
right
according to an inscription, it belonged to a previous resident. So there is possible...
They open
portals and witchcraft or occult type stuff going on there.
They did
of the negative kind. Not all not all witchcraft and occult stuff is
right
negative. In this case, definitely was.
They did when they were investigating the house on this documentary, they were sensing a portal in the main room, where
in the middle of the pentagram.
Middle of the pentagram. Yeah,
makes sense.
So
that's where I would put it.
I mean, right dab in the middle. Why not?
Where else would you put it?
Not on
you don't
the
want
outside.
to put it on the end. You don't want to put it on the outside. You want to put it in the middle of the house. So they think that this house was built to summon demons.
Maybe whoever did build the house was into some crazy shit. Because I mean, if they did it based off the ley lines and trying to build it in this pentagram the way they did,
the upside down cross.
Maybe they were trying to access the upside down.
They were, the other side. The upside down. They were trying to bring out the Demogorgons and Vecna.
Yes. Right out of the tubs.
Stranger Things reference for those of you that have never seen it. Anyways, so the rumor is, or one of the theories is this house was built to summon dark entities or demons. And another rumor is that this house was actually quite the opposite. It was built to trap them there.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to... I don't know. What do you think?
There's a lot of speculation. I think, okay, let's be honest. Watching this documentary, watching some of the investigations, it was really hard to tell, in my opinion.
It was hard to stay awake
watching. It was, honestly, we both, we had a little cuddle party like Joey and Ross did.
Into each other's laps.
Like Joey and Ross did in that episode of Friends. We had a nice cuddle. No, it's, neither one of us could stay awake through this documentary, and I don't know why. You try to watch it. Well, I mean, you have brain damage.
Yeah, I'm kind of derp.
I mean, the concussion, but so I mean, I can get it for you, but like I was up this morning trying to watch it, and I fell asleep. I rewound it, fell asleep again. You think after an hour-long nap I'd be good to go, but apparently
no,
not.
That
like,
puts you right back to sleep.
I just
again.
want to know if anybody else has watched this documentary and let us know if this kind of makes you fall asleep. Like, I don't know. There are some points in the points. Good Lord. How long have we been podcasting? We can't spot.
Porncasting.
We can't speak. Y'all know this by now, hopefully. If you're listening to us on the 141st episode for the first time,
for the 141st time,
go listen to other episodes where we might speak better. I don't know. But yeah, they do the investigation. They're playing back some of their EVP sessions, and one of the questions is like, "Hey Jesse, what is it that you did to your daughter?" And they play it back, and I don't know about you, but I couldn't hear anything.
No.
Any of the EVPs they play back, they're like, "This is what it said."
Yeah,
like,
they were saying things.
They were saying things,
but I wasn't hearing anything.
I didn't know. I didn't either. When they said they asked Jesse what he did to his daughter, they're like, "Oh, he said rape him," and I didn't hear anything at all. There was another point in time where I was listening to it with earbuds at first when I tried listening to it the other day, and a couple minutes into the investigation after that supposed EVP, I thought I heard a voice, but I couldn't tell if it was like a spirit or if it was one of the guys, because they had a team of like 10 people going through this house, which I think is obsessive, or not obsessive, overkill, right? Thank you. Just a lot of the stuff that they were doing the Estes method a couple times. Mm-hmm. And here's where I have an issue. I like going into doing an Estes method. I've done it in places that I've been to before. My favorite was doing it at the Ritz, where I didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't know any of the history. I didn't know any of the spirits. And we did get through our Estes method, and we played that at the end of one of our episodes, like the part of the Estes method. We got stuff that was very pertinent to some of the spirits there. What I had a hard time with is they spent a year researching this place.
And this was the best they had.
This is before going in and doing this investigation. So they knew a lot, and I think part of their Estes method, obviously, they're not going to be, they shouldn't be hearing the questions that are being asked. Mm-hmm. But when they're yelling out words, because like they know that this Jesse dude was a pedophile when he was alive, right? Mm-hmm. So when they're yelling out rape, I raped her, or stuff like that, I think a lot of that has to come from shit they already knew, and it was just pareidolia trying to like fill in the blanks. Mm-hmm. When you're listening to the spirit box, they did have 2 different spirit box sessions where, honestly, if I was there, I would have left them go longer than they did. I don't know how long they actually went, because it's on TV, mm-hmm. but it seems like they started freaking out over, in my opinion, nothing, and they're like, mm-hmm. pull them out, take them outside. I think they just psyched themselves up way too much. Mm-hmm. The initial group that went in, this documentary takes place over a couple different nights with a couple different teams, because they were trying to get as much unbiased evidence as possible. The second team came in and they were using an SLS camera, so right there off the bat, I was just like discrediting them. So I've used an SLS camera. You have one. In my opinion, the SLS camera is not a valid piece of ghost hunting equipment. If you have one, sell it. That is my opinion. If it works for you, it works for you. Great. But they're sitting there showing like supposed like anomalies, and like, look, there's like an inhuman thing sitting next to you, and to me it looked like it was picking up the the door frame.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, and that's why.
Or it was like picking up the
SLS.
fireplace. So to me, it looked like everything they were pointing out. They're like, "There's a non-human thing next to you." It literally looked like it was just picking up different fixtures in the house. Like I've tried one of these. There's an SLS app that you can get for free if you really want to try an
And
SLS.
all it's doing is it's trying to pick up images and try to shape it as a human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I saw one where like I was pointing it at a barrel and it made it look like it was a human.
Yeah, because probably something behind it had a weird thing that looked like it could be a neck or something.
It's like the same thing with people taking their Teslas to
the
graveyard. It's like picking up trees or tombstones and it's looking as a person on
right,
it.
because
we've tried it with your Tesla. Like,
well, it only has a few things that it knows how to trigger it, like a cone or garbage can or a motorcycle, bicycle.
When you're picking up a tombstone, it's your car is going to pick up what the best thing that it's programmed to pick up. The SLS camera is, in my opinion, no different than something like that.
That's really what that is an SLS camera.
I just don't think Tesla. That when they're like there's a light anomaly, it just flew in your head. I had a hard time watching that part. The one that I did think was interesting, and I still had a hard time with this one, was like the last guy they brought in, or at least the last one I saw, because there was still like 20 minutes left. He had a device called the Gateway. Have you seen this thing?
It's kind of like the Portal.
It's very much like the Portal. If you don't know,
he had the echo turned up
and
all the way.
There was some reverb, so you could hear it come through a couple times. There are some words that came through this. So basically, it's like, I guess the way this device is supposed to work is like an SP7 spirit box, but it's cutting out the white noise and it's playing it backwards. And
the reverb kind of gives the spirit a little bit more of a time to spit it out.
Right.
So
and it replays it, like whatever it says, it replays it a couple times. It kind of has an echo in it. That's almost very similar to the way the Echo Vox works. So it looks like an overly expensive thing where you can buy the app for $30 if you really want something like that. There were some things that came through that kind of made sense to the questions he was asking.
The numbers.
But like, yeah, that one, he did ask how many spirits were here, and it did come through and say 12.
Five.
It came through and said 5, apparently. So obviously it wasn't that great because we remember different numbers. I thought I heard 12. But what I thought was interesting is like anytime this thing made noise, there was a caption on the bottom of what it was trying to say, and I'm like, it didn't sound anything like that.
Yeah, I hate when they try to feed you what they,
Right. That's why like when we do have EVPs on the EVP podcast, we play it like 3 or 4 times before we tell you what it's. We're not trying to feed you the information right off the bat.
So I'll watch like Ghost Adventures and I'll have it on in the background while I'm doing stuff, and I can hear when they're playing like what they hear when they get an EVP, and I'll hear it say one thing, and then they'll say something out loud that was way off of what I heard.
Yeah.
And then there's times where I hear exactly what they say too, and it matches up. But yeah, there are times where, and then when they think it, that's what they believe. And what I heard actually would make more sense to what was going on in the scenario, and what they heard was way off, and they were trying to make it make sense.
Right, and it's just like when they haven't built up the EVP at all or any of that voices on there, and they're just putting subtitles on there the second it pops up. I think they're taking away from the opportunity for you to actually like hear what's going on. They're already putting it in your head what it is they think they heard. So that's most likely what you're going to end up hearing. And I don't like it when TV shows do that. Just play it, and then if you think you had something, like play it back, and once or twice, and then put the caption or whatever.
Get a few opinions first.
Right. I mean, like if you've listened to any time we played the EVPs on this show, that's what we do is we play like 2 or 3 times before we even tell you what we think it says.
And then we play it 3 more times.
We play it 3 more times. No, it's true. But we want you to be able to actually like kind of make up your own mind before we try to make it up for you. Well, because that's just the way it is. Like once you put it out there, that's what people are going to be listening for. Right. So that's why we play it a couple times, and it's very annoying on TV shows where they don't
force feed you what they want you to hear.
Right. Overall, it was actually a really good documentary because they do put a lot of history in the show, and that's kind of what I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in my opinion, it's overhyped. I don't think it's the most evil house in America. I'm not saying there isn't anything there. One of the things I thought was interesting, at the very beginning of the documentary, they have an investigator named, I believe, Cheryl or Cindy or something like that. They show her before the investigation how she's super excited to investigate, and it's been a long time that they've been wanting to do this. And then they go 10 hours later, and they show the same person and how she's like kind of beaten down and tired, and her demeanor's completely different, and they make a note of that. And I'm like, well, duh.
You've been up all night.
You started investigating, and you're leaving the house at 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you've been up all night. You're going to be tired. Unless you're like someone that is consistently working the graveyard shift like every day, which I highly doubt these people are doing.
Energy drinks.
Right.
Nonstop.
Your demeanor is going to be different 10 hours after an investigation. Hell, ours is different after 4 hours of an investigation.
Right,
I can only imagine 10 hours. I've done overnights before from like midnight to 7 in the morning. Yeah, the way you feel at 7 in the morning after a 7-8 hour investigation, way different than the beginning of it. So, and they tried to say that was because of the things in the house that were causing her to be this way and caused her to feel depressed. Is it possible? Yeah. But you're also up all night.
Yeah. Do I think the house is haunted? Yeah, I do think this house is haunted. Do I think it's the most evil house in America? No, I think it's the most evil house in Cayuga.
Yeah, probably.
But
maybe even Indiana.
Maybe in all of Indiana. I don't know. There's a lot like if you've gone through Indiana and Ohio, those areas that are just all corn country. Holy shit, there are some abandoned, haunted ass looking houses and buildings out there.
Nickelodeon has taught me that Indiana is very eerie.
Yeah, Erie, Indiana is a for sure thing. I'm
proud of myself for that one.
But there's a ton of abandoned, haunted ass places that I guarantee probably have a lot more spirits than this house did.
Yeah, I just didn't really pick up on a whole lot there. I just think it's overhyped.
Yeah, well, I think it's just it's a place to go to in that area that you can access and actually ghost hunt. But I think there's probably a lot more haunted, abandoned houses and buildings in Indiana.
Don't get me wrong. I would totally go investigate this house if given the opportunity.
I would love to.
I think that I know I say this a lot about people. I think that this guy saw an opportunity and he took it.
Oh, well, I think
because there was a book written on it. There's the documentary now.
Yeah,
I think I mean I could be wrong.
He probably feels partial to this house. There's probably something that drew him there, and he feels for this house. But I mean, yeah, if he's gonna try to pay his way in, like to do what he loves, hell yeah, write a book.
Oh no, I'm just jealous that all these cash grab opportunities are coming up, and I'm not part of it.
Well, just wait. One day, someone's gonna be like, you know what, Beaker? I heard about that barbecue place you want, them haunted. Booze and cues. Well, here, son, I got you some monies. Bam, mafia money, just like that. You just gotta take care of them. 20% every month.
20%. That's not much.
But I don't know. I thought, yeah, the house is haunted, but not as crazy haunted as they say. But yeah, it's haunted.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well. I guess
anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered everything. Again, if you do want to watch a documentary, it is called Willows Weep. It is on YouTube.
Let us know if you're able to stay awake.
Yeah, I would be very interested because, like I said, he tried watching it 5 times, fell asleep every time. I tried watching it 3 times. I think I ended up
watching it in its entirety, but not all at once.
I think when I woke up, the credits were rolling, so I rewound it, and I'd stopped with like 20 minutes left. So maybe it's just you have a concussion. You have an excuse. I don't know what my deal is. It was the history part of it to me was very entertaining, or very not entertaining, interesting. I like hearing the history of the house. The investigators were the whole another breed.
Yeah. It could probably done without the investigation part of it.
But, honestly, I would honestly would rather have watched like Ghost Hunters or even Zeg Bagans go in and investigate this house. At least that would have been entertaining.
Yeah, that really made it hard to stay awake. But you know what? Ghosty don't play that.
Oh, yeah? Do you notice he doesn't play?
Huh.
social media.
Oh, yeah. You know why? Because DVO covers that.
DVO covers the social media. That's why Ghosty doesn't play it. But so if you want to follow us on the social medias, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at evp.pod. You can contact us there, or if you don't want to, you can email us at evp.pod@gmail.com. Tell us if you made it all the way through that documentary. After you do that, go check us out at our affiliate link. Go to our affiliate link, ghoststop.com. Buy some stuff. We need the fancy haunted restaurant. We've downgraded from the yacht because we feel like the restaurant's going to be a little bit cheaper to run.
And then we'll just get some kayaks first, some haunted kayaks.
Haunted kayaks. So I did want to go over something real quick. It was a couple episodes ago. We did the Arundel Mental Institution. Ararat. We did have someone contact us and give us a little bit of an update on that. And I will tell you what it says if I'm on the right chat message. Holy cow. So apparently in Australia, we had a comment from Fazira Armada. I can't read. We've already established this. So someone on YouTube, they commented and said, all prisoners hanged in old Australian jails were buried in the jail standing up facing the sunset. I thought this was very interesting information. That's not something that came up in any of our research, and we wanted to share.
You could probably pack more bodies that way.
Standing up?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know that it would be any different than packing them laying down on top of each other.
I don't know either. But
I mean, it's going to take up. Well, it's still going to take up the amount of same of like space. Like, but I found that was an interesting fact. I thought that I wanted to share with everybody. So thank you for commenting on that. We did have someone hit us up about the Hans Holzer episode from like 2 years ago. Recommended a couple books. I've actually been going through and reading some of the Warren's books and some of Hans Holzer's books. And we'll be going over some of that stuff this year, as well as more guests are lined up, or we're trying to line up more guests. So
more aliens, more spooks, more
stuff.
Squatches,
cryptids.
Yeah. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.